Hello and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to be reacting to child pregnancy centres by last week tonight. Now I did try to get full permission to use this video, unfortunately they didn't get back to me, but hopefully I won't be in legal trouble over that. But of course I will be saying, do go ahead and subscribe to last week tonight if that's a good thing to do. They have some good stuff. I mean, some of the more recent stuff have been slightly concerning, but nothing too bad. But anyway, so crisis pregnancy centers. Let's go ahead. No, I don't want to unsubscribe. I want to view the video. Yeah, just view the video.
Pornography. Some people believe it should be available and accessible without stigma. Others think, well, it's not for me, but it's fine for other people in certain situations. And a few people think it should be banned completely. Oh, did I say pornography? Sorry, I meant abortion. Our main story tonight is abortion.
Yeah.
And yes, we have talked about it before. Last time we looked at the way abortion laws in America have in many
Yeah, it's they've gotten worse.
places made access to abortion difficult.
And now illegal.
As clinics all over the country have shut down. But tonight,
Actually, that's a good point. There are a lot of countries, for example, Northern Ireland currently has better abortion laws than England does. But the problem is, in Northern Ireland, there are, I'm not sure if it's like none or just there aren't enough abortion clinics. So everyone has to go to England anyway. It's the same thing with Ireland. You got people who are allowed to have abortions, but because there are no abortion clinics, it's like you effectively can't. Like, you are allowed to open an abortion clinic and you are allowed to go to an abortion clinic. There's nothing wrong with that in law. There's nothing wrong with that anyway, in my opinion. But like, even if you're against abortion, it doesn't matter. You're allowed to in law. But there aren't enough abortion clinics. So you do need to also have government-built abortion clinics, in my opinion. Because
we're going to focus on the exact opposite of an abortion clinic, something called a crisis pregnancy centre. Facilities whose primary purpose is to talk women out of terminating a pregnancy. Something they don't often make that clear.
That's very dodgy. Like, an abortion clinic doesn't talk you into having an abortion. Like, when you go to an abortion clinic, you go there to say, I would like to get an abortion. Now, you may decide not to after the fact. There's also things someone might go to an abortion clinic for advice. Should I get an abortion or not? But they're at least thinking of getting an abortion. Abortion clinics aren't there designed to get you to have an abortion. Like, children are very, very costly. In fact, they can cost you hundreds of thousands, in fact. Indeed. Yeah. Also, you're medically more likely to die of a pregnancy than you are of an abortion. So it's really safer for you. All things that are true, yes, but, they don't talk you into having an abortion. So I think it's very weird for crisis pregnancy centers to just be like, no, you should have a child, because, I mean, it brings happiness sometimes, although sometimes not, actually. Point is, though, is that basically, child pregnancy centers, they're very dodgy.
Clear. Instead, running friendly-looking ads like this.
Before you make the decision about a pregnancy that comes at a less than perfect time, get Jelly on the Belly. Come to Sunrise Women's Clinic, a clinic where our nurses specialize in early pregnancy options.
Okay. Jelly on the belly is a pretty childish way to describe an important medical procedure. I'm not sure that I would trust a doctor that referred to colonoscopies as looking for cooties in the booties. But for second, one of the early pregnancy options that you won't get at Sunrise Women's Clinic is an abortion. But that can be hard to tell from their vague name and marketing, and that actually happens a lot with CPCs. Take the Centre for Pregnancy Choices in Mississippi. It sounds like a welcoming place. The website even has links labelled Thinking Abortion and Thinking Parenting, and it was founded by a woman named Barbara Beavers, whose very name sounds like that of a sassy mother in a TV show about a family of beavers. It would be called Hot Damn, and it would be absolutely delightful.
What?
But
maybe
once you're inside her CPC, you will find that it is vehemently against any choice that is not carrying a pregnancy to term. In fact, just listen to Barbara explain where she stands on abortion.
You're deceiving yourself if you say you can kill your baby and it'd be good for you.
Fetus, and I don't think it's necessarily that it'd be good for you. It's just that having a child would be very, very bad for you. You know, and I know this might come as a shock to you, but which do you think is worse, getting an early abortion and not giving birth, or having your born baby die? Which is worse to experience? I think it's probably the one where the actual, the body, you have to bury it, and it's actually legally considered a citizen, and it's officially actually died, and you see it die. I think that's the one that's worse off, or the one where it kills you. That's probably the worst option. I know. It's not so much that it's good to have an abortion. It's just it's bad not to have one in certain cases. Sometimes it's just like maybe you just don't want to land up being forced to have a child. I don't know. Maybe that's just like something that it's rather like if you've got a disease that's like easily cured, like very easily, like very easily. It's not like, oh, there's surgery involved and there's things there and it's gonna be very. It's like no, it's very very easy. You just take these pills and then you're cured. Fine. Someone said, "I don't think you should take those pills because you can't. Like, are you going to be happy? You're just deceiving yourself, thinking you'll be happy if you take the pills." It's like I don't think I'll be happy if I take the pills. I won't be as miserable because the disease makes your skin rot. You don't understand. I don't like the fact of the disease that's the issue, and if it's easily preventable, then why wouldn't you do it? You know? If that's your thing, if you want to do it, you know? Anyway, just
That's just deception. That's not true. It doesn't register with reality.
just I mean, to each their own. So, you wouldn't know. It's like people who are transphobic are like, children don't know. It's like, I don't think you know either. So, maybe children don't know about other people's gender. I would understand that. Why would a child know about the world? That's perfectly understandable. You have to learn about the world. By the way, children aren't stupid. They're ignorant. They haven't learned about it. Like a child that's an absolute genius when they grow up will still be very thick when they're a child. Because you see, they won't have known anything. They haven't learned anything. But you see, when a child knows something about itself, for example, when a baby is in pain and it cries, go, how does the baby know it's in pain? It's because it's the baby's pain. It can feel its own pain. The baby may not be able to recognize other people's pain, like the fact that the mother's like, I have no sleep. I need to get up for work tomorrow because for some reason my country doesn't offer maternity leave, and you are keeping me up, and then I'm gonna have low productivity, and then I'm gonna be fired. Basically, babies can't recognize the fact that the mother is in pain. Sometimes, others, we know most of the time, but they can know when they are in pain themselves. That's where they're crying, they're hungry, or they're in pain, or that's the thing. So realistically, yes, you can say, yes, you are ignorant about other people, maybe, but you I think you would know less about someone than they would know themselves for this particular thing, and for a lot of things actually. Just to make it clear, I don't really like it when people are like, "You wouldn't know." It's like, well, how would you know though? Because you're effectively saying you wouldn't know, but even though that doesn't really make much sense, because well, how exactly does a person who's saying you wouldn't know about an individual person? It's not like a fact of history. It's not like, oh, you wouldn't know about the intricacies of the Second World War. You're saying you wouldn't know about yourself. That's a little bit factually inaccurate. It just annoys me when people are like, anyway, get back to the video.
Mamas, women are not made that way. Women are made to protect and to guard and to die for their babies.
What? Die. And oftentimes they do if you ban abortion. And so does the baby, actually.
Not their babies to die for them.
Holy shit! Let me be perfectly...
Also, it tends to be the case that babies don't tend to die for their mothers. When babies die, it tends to be because their mother is also close to death. In which case, I don't see why you'd be against abortion. Like, the baby's lying there. It's just been born. Um, Unfortunately, the doctor did say that the baby did have problems, and it's not able to breathe, so it dies. That the baby shouldn't have to die for them. I think the baby just did die, and so did the mother as well. And if we, if when the baby was a fetus, we could have solved that problem. The mother could be alive. But yeah, so you just murdered a woman. Congratulations.
Clear here, Barbara. The only females made to die for their babies are Pacific salmon. They lay thousands of eggs and then die after spawning. You're welcome. Tune in next week for more of Johnny O's fish facts, wildlife wonders, and abortion. Centres like that one are proliferating. There are now 2,700 pregnancy centres in America compared to less than 1,700 abortion providers.
That's
and the discrepancy
terrible.
is even worse in certain states. Mississippi, for example, has 1 abortion clinic and 38 crisis pregnancy centres. So if they are that prevalent, people should absolutely know what they are. And look, if you believe abortion is immoral, you are, of course, allowed to set up a centre dedicated to convince...
I don't think you are, though. If you believe abortion is not good for you, then you just don't get an abortion. Now, of course, you will also have to face the repercussions of having that belief. Basically, you have to face the repercussions for that. I mean, like, if you're the person who's giving birth, you may die because of your belief that abortion is immoral. And if you're the person who's the partner involved, your partner may die. And that's the thing. You don't have to live that. But the point is, that's a personal thing for you. You're forcing that on other people. Like, oh, I don't. That's moral. So that's banned. That's banned. I mean, I'm just saying, if we're going to go down the immoral tack, okay, let's ban racists, transphobes, sexism. Let's ban all the people. Next time someone says something sexist, let's imprison them for it. What we're going to do? Well, let's just say a lot of people are going to end up in prison. I'm just saying, if you're going to go down the moral action, when you take in everybody's views on everybody thinks is immoral, pretty much 100% of people are going to land up in prison if you make all of them illegal and you ban all of them. So, I'm just going to say, like, it's just, you can't, it's just, Anyway.
Convincing women of that. But what is happening with CPCs is that way too often women with unplanned pregnancies are being actively misled while trying to access healthcare. And CPCs seem happy to have women confuse them for abortion clinics.
Even in a planned pregnancy, like if you've got a planned pregnancy but you're told, your child is unlikely to live beyond like the age of 5, you may say, well, I don't want to put my potential child through that. Or if you're saying, you're very likely to have a miscarriage, even if something is planned, it may go wrong. And if it does, the option should be out there for you, to say, well, obviously we don't want to do that to someone.
Just listen to Abby Johnson, an anti-abortion activist, addressing a conference for one of the largest CPC organisations.
We want to appear neutral on the outside. The best call, the best client you ever get is one that thinks they're walking into an abortion clinic.
Oh, that's... If you were exchanging money there, that would be fraud. Probably not the best thing. That the only reason why you're not committing fraud is because you're not actually exchanging money. Like, yeah, abortion clinic. Indeed. I never said it. No, Your Honor, I never said it wasn't an abortion clinic. I just, when they were like, "Is it an abortion clinic?" I was just like, I just nodded my head. That's all I did. What's wrong with that? You deceive them, though. Basically, that should be illegal. You should go to prison for that, because that is effectively fraud.
Okay? Those are the best clients that could ever walk in your door.
It's so creepy. Those are the best clients, the ones you purposely do not put them on the right track. You don't tell them, we actually don't give abortions here. Our entire purpose is, in fact, to stop you having an abortion. Even if that means we actively know that you tell us, I'm going to die if I don't have a child, we're going to actively mislead you until, yes, you do die to have a child. Yet we are basically committing murder because we are aware of the fact that you will most likely die with this. Yeah, that's just us. We're really, really fun that way, We're just really fun that way. Just loads of murders being done. That is murder.
Your door or call your center. The ones that think you provide abortions.
Wow. Normally, the strategy, pretend you're an abortion clinic, is not actually a great marketing stunt. Although, I am pretty sure that Radio Shack would have tried that if they thought of it. Oh, sorry. We don't actually perform abortions here, but while I've got you, can I interest you in a gently used USB cord or a Microsoft Zune? They come in brown.
Brown is...
And the effort to conceal their true intent takes many forms, starting with the name. Many CPCs have the word choice in their names, like Choices Women's Centre, Informed Choices Medical Clinic, and all these other CPCs, all of which feature the words choice in their name. And I know that almost every product does a bit of misleading advertising. No one would buy Pepsi if they were honest and called it Sad Coke. Or you wouldn't buy a Mini Cooper if they admitted they were just clown cars for regular people.
No.
And while it should be easy to clarify any...
I know someone with a Mini Cooper. They're a moron, but still.
misconceptions with a simple phone call, that can be difficult. Just listen to what happened when one woman called a CPC for information, and keep in mind when you listen that the centre absolutely, under no circumstances, ever provides abortions.
Good evening, White Rose. May I help you?
Hi, I was wondering how much you charge for a first trimester abortion?
I really can't. It's not, excuse me, it's a policy that we just like people to come in and we can discuss then and go forward.
So CPC...
Okay, that sounds like a scam, to be honest. Someone just, scam.
These can lure women to meet with them on false pretenses. Basically, they are catfishing them. A term that was coined because, of course, catfish are constantly trying to trick women who are out of their league into fucking them. That's right. You thought we were out of fish facts. You were wrong. We have millions. I could do this all day. But I'm not going to, because we're talking about abortion.
We are.
And CPCs can even intercept people's internet searches, and routinely buy Google keyword ads for phrases like abortion and abortion clinic, and frequently they'll go even further and try and physically intercept.
Yeah, companies do a lot as well. But yeah, these are all you don't typically think of like someone who's like, yes, we help people decide. It's like a career advisor being like, yes, we intercept people. So people ask us, we find out people's streams, and then we make sure never to give them a job that's in that. Yeah, we call ourselves the dream career advice people. Yeah. We deliberately make sure people are miserable. We find the jobs they hate the most, and then we get them a job there, and then we win. Then we deliberately sabotage any jobs in the other industries. It's real fun, just ruining people's entire lives. Yay! That's basically what they're doing.
Intercept people because they often locate themselves as close as possible to abortion clinics. For instance, one abortion provider in Hartford ran into some real problems with a similarly named CPC when they deliberately located just 20 feet from them.
What?
This woman, who we aren't identifying, speaks candidly about the difficult decision she had to make after becoming pregnant after a rape.
I didn't want the baby. It was a lot on my soul.
Eventually, she decided to seek the services of the Hartford GYN. She initially went for counseling, and she can remember how the clinic's neighbor, Hartford Women's Health, tried to offer unsolicited counsel as well.
Oh.
They was trying to tug me over there, and I was like, you're making me feel bad.
Now, clearly, that's absolutely horrible. And incidents like that were so routine that the abortion clinic in question, in an attempt to keep its clients from going to the wrong place, painted the ramp outside their door bright yellow. like The Wizard of Oz. Which is actually appropriate because that movie too involves a young woman getting stopped several times by idiots bothering her with their own fucking issues as she just tries to get where she needs to fucking go.
Yeah.
And if CPCs can't get a physical location right next to an abortion clinic, they have another trick up their sleeve, and that is buses that can literally park outside and try and tempt women in. Many CPCs operate mobile clinics with the help of organisations like Save the Storks, a name which really should immediately say...
Yeah. My God, yeah. Well, I don't think you should take advice on abortion from somebody who thinks that babies come from storks. You know. Or who uses birds and the bees. I hate that thing, you know? Just don't use that, please. Because it just doesn't work as a concept. It just confuses people. Like, how is that in any way like what actually happens? You know, bees are physically so small they could go. I'm not even going to get into it.
Set off red flags. Oh, let me go into this van and talk to someone who thinks babies are brought by a deformed pigeon on stilts. And to listen to them tell it, their vans are an absolute joy to be inside.
These vehicles fit in one parking spot and will go right at the door of an abortion clinic. Every stork bus has a bathroom.
That's weird. Like, here in the Plaza Hotel, we locate ourselves around an abortion clinic. So that, that's where we look at ourselves. Yeah. Good spot. Right. Anyway.
Be able to do a pregnancy test. Built-in refrigerator. The seats are all leather. This massage chair. This thing is really good for the back. We've had a lot of good reviews from the pregnant women.
No! You can't do that. Yeah. We've got really good reviews from all the pregnant women being in my van. I like it when they're in my van. It's real good. Just fucking creepy.
Look, if someone wanted to spend their time in the back of a plush van and then be told not to have an abortion, they just fuck the lead singer of Creed. And once CPCs have women inside their building or van, they can employ every tactic in the book to try and get them to change their mind. Literally every tactic in the book, because Heartbeat International, which has 1,400 affiliates in the US,
1,400
this handbook with suggested scripts featuring some nonsense information. It suggests telling pregnant women that 35% of suicidal behaviours among women may be attributable to abortion.
Wait, what? 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 I mean, how? God, that's not even believable, though. Like, how is that even believable? Anyway.
Which is bullshit. It also says that abortion almost doubles the risk of breast cancer, which...
Okay. Who writes these? This is the thing. Like, you would think they'd have more like a obvious sort of BS sort of nonsense in there, but then they got like weird specifics, like, if you have an abortion, you double the risk of breast cancer, which is wrong, and like how do you even come to that idea to put that in?
Which is also bullshit.
Yes.
And while in reality abortion is far less medically dangerous than carrying a child to term, that hasn't stopped some CPC employees from saying things like this.
If people die due to an abortion later on, a lot of times they're finding parts of the fetus in like the lungs or the heart.
What? Here's a problem. Do they know like basic biology, like, where a fetus is located? Because if you're finding a fetus in the lungs and heart, you've got a problem internally. Because that kind of area where the fetus is located is also an area where, that kind of general area, it's also an area where a couple of other things happen. Like, like before the fetus, you've got eggs, before they're fertilized, then they become a fetus after that. So you're saying that people find eggs in the lungs and heart? Because that would be the natural assumption, wouldn't it? You know? Because, I mean, where do you think the egg goes? It goes out. There's a process for that, you know? Like, do you know how an egg goes out? There's a process. How the fetus goes out? Like, what even is that? Look, if they're finding fetuses in the lungs and heart, they find eggs in the lungs and heart too. Obviously, because, you know, it's in the same place. The only difference between an egg and a fetus is that one is fertilized with sperm. You know? I'm just saying, bit weird. Bit weird to make that. It's like, come on. Do people don't know?
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot of times, doesn't it? Which is why you're so often reading the obituaries and see Sarah Mitchell passed away last week at the age of 34 after she got baby dicks right in the heart. It happens all the time. We're tired of reading it. And the thing is, that medical advice can actually look pretty legitimate because CPCs often have the trappings of a healthcare facility. Increasingly, they offer free ultrasounds, which can sound appealing. It's free. But often, they're not performing them so much for medical reasons as for emotional manipulation.
Yeah, I'd be very, very, you know, what I'm saying is, they don't seem to be very prone to telling the truth. So the next thing, they'd be just like, yeah, see? Yeah, it's definitely a real ultrasound. Definitely. We're definitely not doing something shady. I would not trust a CPC for anything because even if they're not obviously lying to you, they probably are lying to you. Don't trust anything a CPC would say. I'm just going to say that, like...
Just watch this Christian Broadcasting Network profile of women who give free ultrasounds in this bus that parks outside abortion clinics. Just watch as they describe their technique.
They usually start crying as we begin and cover their eyes. And as we're continuing with the ultrasound, they start peeking out between their fingers. And we call it a baby, and we call them mom. And look, your baby's sucking his thumb. Oh, he has the hiccups.
Sucking its thumb? Once again, the medical inaccuracy.
All who operate the ultrasound machine will spend as much time as needed with the new moms.
She stays on that table until she decides she wants the baby.
What? That's kidnapping. You're keeping someone against their will. Yeah, that's kidnapping. You were not allowed to do that. Also, why are they admitting this? Like, they do know, right? This is highly immoral. Like, highly.
And if that isn't coercive enough, which it comfortably is, technicians at other clinics have written messages uninvited on the ultrasound like, "Hi, Mommy and Daddy."
Why? Why? Just why?
And if you were going to write an unrequested ultrasound message, at least be creative about it. Write, "I'm totally pooping in here." Or, "I ate my twin." Or, "Please don't put this on Facebook, everyone hates that."
True. Also, Facebook is rubbish.
Finally,
Don't use Facebook.
CPCs can and
They
have
steal all your
misled
information.
women about how pregnant they are or have delayed their decision to have an abortion past the point where it's possible. Watch as one doctor describes a case of a woman who came to her in her 3rd trimester, having been under the care of a CPC that gave her terrible advice.
They told her that she didn't have to worry, she didn't have to rush, there was no time issue because they do abortion in New York City up until term, which is patently ridiculous. So when she came to me, she was too pregnant. Her partner had abandoned her. She had no money. She had 3 other children. She had no intention of being pregnant. And when she became pregnant, during the time of her pregnancy, she'd been using drugs and alcohol. She very responsibly went to end the pregnancy. And now I had to tell her, "You're going to have a baby."
That is obviously heartbreaking. And here's the thing. For all the lengths that CPCs will go to prevent abortions, many of them don't do a key thing that would really help that, and that's give women access to birth control. In fact, that script from before instructs CPCs, it instructs them to tell people condoms are ineffective in preventing pregnancy. And
what? That's... one of the only purposes a condom has. It is literally stopping semen. So if it doesn't prevent pregnancy, how do you think pregnancies work? Because the only reason why a condom wouldn't prevent pregnancy is if it's faulty. Because it's literally stopping semen escaping. That's the whole thing. It's like if you put, a cap on a bottle, you can turn the bottle upside down, and any liquid in the bottle doesn't come out because you've got a cap on it. That's what you're effectively doing. Now, obviously, if you punched a hole in that cap, yes, liquid would come out, but the actual caps in general, are not ineffective in letting water out. Basically, no, that's not true.
And some operators, like Barbara Beavers, are hard skeptics.
Condoms don't prevent, even used correctly. There's like a 20% failure rate.
Oh, is there? I mean, no, there isn't. So that's an outright lie, or else you're just thick.
Used correctly, there's a relatively high failure rate of condoms.
I thought if a condom's used correctly, it's 98% effective.
Oh, I don't believe that.
No. That's science. What? Science? No. No. No, that can't be true. How could that be true? No. I can't believe that. I mean, like, do you know how many times people have sex and don't have children? Even when it is in that section of time? Because I can tell you this much, if condoms were only 20% effective, you'd have a lot more people.
I don't think that's correct.
No.
I would question that.
Would you?
So I'll find some of our data.
Oh, of course you would. Just laughing blatantly about the BS you get. This is the problem. You hear this about, and I actually hear this. You hear this when it comes to economics as well. Someone's like, "No, well, according to our statistics, we look at it from the group of economical people who like economics coalition. They say, very respected. The reason why we say they're very respected is because they've been on our show before. That that economically wouldn't work." Sorry, how would increasing tax on the rich not work? Well, that's what they say. That's just not true, though. Well, I mean, it's like, it actually turns out they are owned and funded, maybe not owned, but funded by all the rich people. So maybe it's what we call a conflict of interest. Maybe they're lying. You see, this is what these people are, just full on lying, and now you want us laughing at it. Wow.
What? Why are you laughing, Barbara? Is it because deep down, even you, Barbara Beavers, know that your data is complete horseshit?
True.
Because the fact is, if you want fewer abortions, you should love birth control.
Yes.
You should be filling Pez dispensers with birth control pills. You should be giving condoms out to trick-or-treaters and IUD earrings out as hostess gifts. Birth control should be your favourite thing in the whole world.
True.
But of course, many of these CPCs are about much more than just abortion. They're about...
Yeah, this is the thing, though. It's not even, like, it seems to be about breeding people. It's really weird. It's like you're against contraception. You're also against abortions. You appear to be supremely about breeding human beings. Like a farmer. Which is really effed up. It really is. It's one thing to be a cannibal. It's quite another to be someone who actually breeds people. At least cannibals just eat them,
about controlling women's sexual behaviour. Many are church-affiliated, like the Pregnancy Care Centre in Fort Pierce, Florida, which was started by a Catholic priest. He's called Father Thomas Eitenauer.
Oh.
Now, I don't want to say that he had a condescending view of women, but what...
I mean, the Catholic Church doesn't exactly have the best history. Also, that fella... Oh, he looks like the kind of fella who'd be, a particular kind of Catholic priest. Let's just say. Yeah, just... I mean, I know some Catholic priests. They're not that bad, but their views are generally they don't exactly have. They don't exactly set up crisis pregnancy centers now, do they? They just do their job. This fella's a bit ugh.
Watch him describe the lengths that he would
nice.
go to lure them away from entering an abortion clinic.
I remember the time when they had the fence up in front of the place. They put the fence up. I decided that I would talk to women over the fence by bringing a ladder and getting on top of the ladder and talking to them over the fence. And so, of course, that generated a 911 call.
Yeah, because you're breaking into private property and you appear to be a bit of a creep. And I would call the police as well, to be honest. In fairness, I think America really needs to sort out its police problem. But they've got this weird sort of thing where they're racist and they call the police on people because of the color of their skin, and then they don't call the police on people they should. It's like, what? I mean, guys, you're gonna have to find some sort of middle ground because you're just not bothering to call the police when someone is doing crime in front of you if they're white. But then, oh no, if they're not, oh, well, no, they're fine. Like, come on, let's just, yeah, that fella, total, ugh.
Because I was now talking down to women.
Oh, wow.
Get it? I was both literally and figuratively talking down to them. I made it clear to them that they're merely vessels for the purpose of giving birth and nothing else. I don't actually even see them as full humans. That's why what I do is funny. I break myself up. I'm a chuckle monster. That's priceless. Now, quick side note about that particular priest. Not long after that was filmed, he admitted to violating the boundaries of chastity with a woman who accused him of molesting her for 2 years during what was supposed to be an exorcism. And some...
Oh, he's that kind of priest. What a surprise, Nobody would have thought that kind of priest could be effectively a rapist. Yeah. 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 Sure, not exactly nice as that, is he? David Dobrik.
Some of the details in her allegations are insane.
He kissed the corners of her mouth, stroked her legs, breasts, and
Okay.
thighs, caressed her face, laid his body on top of hers, and frequently explained full, passionate kisses as blowing the Holy Spirit into her.
Cult. That's a cult.
Let us be clear. If you are doing anything that can be described as blowing the Holy Spirit into someone, you are very much doing kissing wrong. And unless your idea of an exorcism is making the woman burp a lot, you're also doing exorcisms wrong as well. Which could be why it took you 2 years.
Yeah.
At this point, you might be wondering how you can give women ultrasounds and inaccurate medical information and not break the law.
Yeah.
Well, CPCs are very careful to stop just short of the line where they would be regulated as healthcare providers. And this offers them numerous advantages. For example...
But see, the thing is, how are they allowed to get, things like government funding, allowed to be in spaces, allowed to be on public streets? You need a license to operate most... you need a license to operate, a street... seller. You need a license for that. You can't just operate a street seller. I can't just set up a stall. I need a license for that. Now, whether or not you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, the point is, how are they allowed to do it and they don't have a license? And it just, anyway.
They're generally not subject to HIPAA, a federal law requiring that patients' information be kept private, which is, frankly, not ideal in a setting where such...
I'm pretty sure in my country, at least, all customers... it doesn't matter what business you're in. Every single customer, you have to make sure their information is private. I'm pretty sure only police are allowed to ask for information. That's literally it. You are in breach of the law if it is possible for someone to find out information. If you just leave it there, it's supposed to be private. In fact, so much so that it is supposed to be protected. From easy enough ways to gain that information.
sensitive information is being shared. And if you are not already angry enough at this point, the government actually funds CPCs.
What?
You are paying for them. They can get federal funding, and 16 states use taxpayer money to fund them directly. And they will say that their fervently held beliefs can justify some of the methods that you've seen tonight. And they might point to the assistance that some centres provide to young mothers, like parenting classes and free diapers, which is great if those women want to be mothers.
Yeah.
Although, as Abby Johnson advised CPC...
What? I mean, I think, no offense, but it's like, and here's your free diapers that you wouldn't have needed in the first place if you had an abortion, but we stopped you from having one. Isn't that just amazing? There you go. There's the free diapers you don't need to buy anyway. If you know, where is the need? I'm sorry. If I was going to have an abortion, I wouldn't need diapers. I wouldn't need to financially take care of my children. I wouldn't need food to feed that baby, you know? You caused that, so you do, in my opinion, kind of have to do a little bit more than just that. I mean, if you're going to cause an abortion, to be avoided, you kind of need to pay for the child.
CPC operators in that conference you saw earlier.
Actually, that's a plot of a show that's coming out.
Help can be surprisingly limited.
If I were to open a pregnancy center, I would not have pregnancy items past 6 months.
Oh.
Are we running a charity? Are we running a place where we want women to become self-sufficient?
I don't think you're any place you want women to come. I think you're running a place where you want women to come, well, no longer pregnant, but not because of an abortion, but because you forced a baby onto them. You think that's what you're running? A breeding pen.
Self-sufficient, right? Have maternity clothes, have those things available for the women while they're pregnant, but cut them off.
Wow.
Wow. So the basic argument there is, we're just not in a position where we can take care of a baby forever. We don't have the time or the resources, so we're choosing not to make that commitment right now. To which I would say, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Look, the point here is, the real point here is, the tactics that CPCs often use are disingenuous and predatory, and it's absolutely critical that people understand that. But they really don't. Watch how one local news outlet covered the opening of a CPC in the gigantic CareNet network.
Schuylkill County is one of the only counties in our area that does not have a Planned Parenthood, but that doesn't mean teens don't have a place to go for help. CareNet of Schuylkill County recently expanded to 2 facilities, one for parents and one for expecting mothers under the age of 21.
No, don't say that! Because if you want all the options available to you, those two are not remotely the same. That's like saying, hey, our town doesn't have a youth sports league, but we do have a large, scary man in sweatpants who will chase your kids around. He, too, operates out of a van.
Gotcha.
And people need to understand this, because right now it is way too easy for a religious organisation to disguise its true nature, establish a CPC, and provide women with dangerously poor information about one of their most important health choices. And I can prove to you how easy it is. You may remember, back in season 2, I established the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Exemption with my lovely wife, Wanda Jo Oliver. Well, last week, we filed paperwork in New York to create a new non-profit, Our Lady of Choosing Choice, to set up our own crisis pregnancy centre. So...
Yeah. So, that was last week tonight. Yeah. So America recently struck down its Roe v. Wade laws, so now it is legal for states to ban abortion. States had already begun to ban abortion, now many states have banned abortion. So it's not exactly the best, is it? And I guess child pregnancy centers no longer have to exist because now, well, except for the states that do still have abortion. But of course, I think the problem will be, of course, that we have this issue here where America does not have exactly the best situation. They are going backwards continuously. Just always going backwards. But that was last week tonight. Go ahead and subscribe to them, and that's because that's where the original video came from. Yeah. So yeah, not very good. Good people. Crisis pregnancy centers. Interestingly, I did write. I remember I wrote a book once where someone is victimized by a crisis pregnancy center, and guess what happened? The baby dies when it's born, and guess what they do? They ship the baby off to the crisis pregnancy center, and well, they get a little bit of a shock. So yeah,